Hello, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This video is going to be a little bit different than my usual gameplay throughs and what have you. What we're going to be doing today is actually repairing my Wacom Tablet. Now, if you don't know what a Wacom Tablet is, it's essentially a drawing tool for applications such as Photoshop. But before we get started, I just want to throw out a few acknowledgements to some people. I want to send out a big thank you to my friends Jack and Farrah for encouraging me to do the repair work. Thanks, guys. I appreciated it and definitely needed that positive reinforcement. I also wanted to send out a big thank you and thumbs up to Barnacles, who, if you haven't followed his channel before, is Barnacles Nerdgasm, and I definitely recommend all of you guys check it out. Basically, he had produced a video that I had seen where he shows you how he records his videos using his Canon DSLR camera, his Android device using an application called DSLR Controller Beta, and a special cable that you need to buy in order to connect your two devices together, for which he linked to a monoprice listing where you can pick the cable up much cheaper than you could on Amazon. And I did compare the prices, and it was cheaper to order from monoprice, pay their shipping and handling, than it was to just purchase the cable prior to shipping and handling on Amazon. So thumbs up again to Barnacles, and thank you. Again, his channel is Barnacles Nerdgasm. You guys need to go check him out because he's really funny and he's got a lot of cool stuff there. So without much further ado, let's go ahead and watch my rather ad hoc repair work. I do want to point out this is not how I would normally want to repair anything electronic, or probably anything at all. I didn't have a soldering gun, I didn't have any hot glue, I had Gorilla Tape. So as you can tell, going into this, we were at a disadvantage, and I couldn't go out and buy anything because I am poor. That's right, Barnacles, straight up poor people. The first step, of course, is to remove the 4 screws holding the enclosure together. The unscrewing part is easy, separating the 2 plastic halves is the hard part, at least until I got a hold of it. The second step is to cut the cable so that the board can be detached from the housing. To do this, you can either use wire cutters, or in my case, I used a pair of scissors that is capable of cutting through a penny, so cutting through copper wires won't harm it any. From there, you just strip the wires so that there's just enough copper showing so that you can splice the 2 wires together without any problems. Keep in mind that these wires are very delicate, so you have to be very careful when stripping them. Next, we cord out the remaining wire from the sheath that ran through the body of the tablet so that we could reuse that sheath and better protect our cable once we ran it back through. For this task, we used a cheap little $20 Dremel tool that we already had, including the bits, which are non-standard bits that just happen to fit our Dremel tool. But you could probably also use just a standard small drill bit. Now, we didn't have to core all the wire out, however, we did have to go in just far enough so that we were able to get the parts that were physically attached to the sheathing, they were just able to push the rest of the wire out. Then, we did the stripping on the other part of the wire that had broken off, and then ran it back through the sleeve that we just cored out so that we can then begin the process of splicing those 2 sets of wires back together. For the stripping of the wires, I found that a sharp box cutter or razor blade just shaving the sheathing from around the wire so that you could just peel away that extra sheathing from the wire so you didn't cause as much damage to the underlying metal. Here comes the part where it's fun with Gorilla Tape. Now, I found it best if I just pre-sliced the tape into small little strips that I could just use to cover as little of the wire as possible, because you don't really want a huge ball of tape on there. And as you can see, in the end, I still had much more of a bundle in there than I really wanted, which caused extra bulk inside the tablet when it was all put back together, which isn't ideal. You really need to use as little material as physically possible to hold these wires back together. This is why soldering and maybe a little bit of hot glue would have been a lot better. That way you could keep the amount of material added to the overall repair down to a minimum. At this point, I put everything back together, making sure to put that rubber mat between the board and the metal sheet, which acts as an insulator to keep interference from affecting the digitizer. Lastly, now there's this big gap where the bundle of wires don't allow the case to fully close around the unit. So what we did, as opposed to taking it all back apart and trying to minimize everything, we just put a piece of tape across that gap so that no dust and dirt or whatever can collect inside. Mostly satisfied with the repair work, I went ahead and loaded up Photoshop and tested the pen out. Thankfully, it worked just fine. I want to thank everyone for watching. Please like the video if you liked it, and if you want to see more of this kind of thing, please subscribe to the channel so you can receive notifications every time I upload a new video. Again, thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you next time, guys. Bye.